In this video, I'm going to draw a goblet for my new coloring book called Wild and Witchy. We start with a blue. I have a little color palette for coloring pages that I use here, black, gray, white, and blue. Those were just added by accident, but I always use blue to start with my rough draft. So my goblet is going to be rounded. I kind of want it more like a U shape. That. I'm going to try to avoid snapping like if you draw a wonky shape and you snap it into a shape, I'm going to try to avoid doing that because I want this book to be not wobbly, but I want it to have a hand-drawn feel. So the bottom part will be kind of like this, and then it'll have something like that, and add some kind of details to it. So I might add, I'm going to add a new layer for this. Maybe I'll add some like branches and flowers. These are just rough drafts, so it's not what it will look like in the end. Maybe it'll have something like that. Maybe I'll have some coming up the side like this, and then maybe I'll have a dagger like this. I might want that to be centered just for visual appeal. Maybe I'll have a dagger, and maybe I'll have some things coming down here like this, and I might want some just like ornate patterns here maybe. I'll probably move my little dagger down so I have room for my little ornate pattern. This doesn't have to be perfect because it's just the first draft, and maybe it will be a little thicker. Like maybe I'll have a thicker section here. So it'll come like this. So the top part will be a little bit bigger, and then my dagger will come down here. Then maybe I'll have the same little ornate pattern here. Like that. Maybe I'll have a little snake coming up like this, and maybe instead of these, maybe I'll have a snake. He's going to come around like this. Oops. Like this. And it'll just come back up like this. And then maybe his head will be right here. You know what? Maybe he'll be... Maybe we'll do like that. He'll come up over here instead of this flower, and then I'll have some flowers coming up here. This is why I like to do a first draft. Snakes kind of have eyes like on the side here, like that. This might be a little more rounded. Yeah, I'm liking that so far. So let's move on to our first layer. All right, I'm going to combine those two layers together. I think that's looking pretty good, so I'm going to get started. I think the first thing I'm going to do, because it's going to be on top, is do the little snake. He's going to be sort of the first thing here, so I might even have his tail wrap around like here. Maybe it... Go like this. So then it kind of seems like he's coming around the side, and then he'll come like this. I'm gonna do these parts first. Like that. I'm just erasing that little piece because I didn't like how that came about. So I kind of want it to look like he's wrapping around like this, and then he comes around, and then he comes around. So I'll come up like he's totally wrapped around the handle. I'll clean up some of these lines later too. Don't you worry your little head. All right, so then he comes, so you can see how he comes around and then around and then around, and then I'll have him coming from behind like this, maybe like this, and then up around the side here. I think I'll start from over here. So that's where the head will be. And that's going to be the base of my chalice, or goblet, or whatever you want to call this thing. I think I'm going to fix his head here. There we go. Just going to clean up this line. Sometimes I try to clean up the lines first, and then sometimes I do it later. But if there's too many to do, I tend to get overwhelmed because I have ADHD. So I like to try to clean them up as much as I can. So I'll probably, you know what, I'll add some details later with a thinner line. All right, so that sort of covered my ornate detail, but that's okay. I'm going to add another layer, and we're going to do our base here. And again, I don't want it to be perfect because I want it to have a hand-drawn feel. That's the fun part of doing it on your own, or that's the fun part of creating your own art, is having a sort of hand-drawn look and feel. So I'm just gonna go like this, and I want to have some of these branches sort of coming down underneath like this. And then I might add some like extra little branches coming off like this. I erase a lot. I probably shouldn't, but I want this one coming up like this. And maybe I'll have it coming around this side. That's more on the side. So these are kind of like little vines. And I want them to be wobbly because vines are not perfect, so we want them to look kind of janky, for lack of a better word. And then I might have another one coming up over here. Maybe this one is like the flowers like over on the side. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll have it just come around the side like this. Okay. So I haven't done my flowers yet because I haven't 100% decided what I want my flowers to look like. But I am going to add a couple more little branches like this. Right, so far I'm liking that. It's hard to see with the background layer on, but that's what it looks like so far. And then I'm going to add another layer because I want to do my dagger. I don't want to make this too detailed with with the thick line. I'll add a couple small details later. Alright, so now I'm going to do my cup for the chalice part and go back in and erase some of those lines. I added another layer because I don't want to accidentally go over any of the lines I've already drawn. So now I have to remember, it's easier actually when you're drawing to have a separate layer and do the whole line than it is to do little segments of the line. It just makes it so much easier. Oops. Makes it so much easier to create a nice looking line. Alright, so I'm going to do this part. And I always have to turn my canvas because if I don't have the right angle, I find it difficult. So then I'm going to have the middle part here, it's kind of like this, and then that will come around like that. I don't like that middle piece. I'm going to do this first, because this should actually be sort of like, and I erase that little bit right there, and then we're going to come around like that. That's what I like about digital, is that you can erase things often. And I'll put a little bit of fluid in the cup. There we go. Alright, so that's what we have so far. I'm going to put my background layer back on, and let's see, I need to erase this line right here, and my little snake. There you go. And then I'm going to go back to the vine layer and just connect that. I might even connect it but remove some of this. It's looking a bit chunky. There we go. Alright. Now I think I will do my flowers, but I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to do a sort of rose. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do the outer layer like this. And then I'm going to make my line smaller, and I'll do kind of a rose pattern on the inside. Like that. That's looking okay. So I'll do the same thing here. Just overlapping lines. Just to give like a sort of like petal-ish kind of feel. Doesn't have to be perfect. Yeah, so those are my flowers. And then I'm going to reduce the size and make those a little bit bigger so you can see. Oop, skipped for some reason. Happens sometimes. See how it automatically kind of makes an outer petal layer? I like that. Alright, while I have this smaller line, I'm going to add some details to my dagger, but I'm going to create another layer just in case I mess it up. So I'm not going to add too many. I actually might go a little smaller for this blade. Yeah, I don't want to go too detailed. Maybe I'll do a little wavy line, maybe some stitching, like that. Cool. I'm not hating that. And then add some little branchies. I like to do thick lines, so thick areas that people can color. So you won't see me often add little lines coming off the sides and stuff like that that people can't color, because I try to make as much as I can colorable. And I always like to do thick lines because people who use markers like to have thick lines. It's easier for it to not bleed. Alright, so I'm going to add some of this ornate detail to the top of my chalice, and I might even I think I'm going to go like this. Try to get closer to that line. It's a little wobbly. Ooh. There we go. Alright, and I'm going to add some of this ornate detail. And I'm trying to do opposite. So I'm trying to make it look like it goes all the way around the cup too. So I don't know if you see what I mean. So I went this way, so now this one I'm going to go this way. Oops. And then same thing all the way around. My brain's like, what are we doing? Why is this difficult? And then I want it to look like it goes all the way around. So then I might as well add some, maybe I'll add some little gemstones or something here. But I'm going to turn off my bottom layer because I'm pretty well done with it. And you can see how it's looking so far. So I've got some wobbly lines and things that I need to clean up, so we'll start doing that now. So far I am liking the way most of this is looking, so I'm going to combine all of my layers. I'm just going to pinch them all together, and then I will delete that back layer just to get it out of the way. And I'm going to clean up this line a little bit because it's a little bit too far over, I think. And then I'll just take my eraser here, like that. There we go. And a couple of lines to clean up here. Okay, so that's looking good, and now see how this cup, this side looks better than that side? I'm going to clean up that side too. There we go. That's looking decent. I feel like this side looks a little bit weird. So I'm going to clean that up. I'm just going to make this whole section. I think it's not bad for you all to see, for you all. Husband makes fun of me when I say that because I'm not from the South or anything, and I say you all the time. I think it's good for you to see like the little mistakes and stuff that people make. So it's not always perfection, right? Alright. Clean up that line. And although you think that everybody can see your mistakes, they rarely can. If I've learned nothing from doing art for a while, a few years now, it's that people rarely actually notice any mistakes that you make. They're just looking at the finished product going, I can't believe you were able to make that. Okay, so that's looking okay. I'm going to clean up this line a little bit here. I actually think I'm going to make this go in a little bit like that. There we go. Yeah, so now it kind of looks like it's on top of the base of the cup. Alright, just got some little lines to clean up. There you go. Alright, so I want to add some more detail. I'm going to add some little eyes to this guy. I don't want to add too many details because I don't want it to look silly. I might add some, deciding if I want to add some detail to the snake, but I think I want to leave him mostly the way he is. I might do like some of this though. Just add some like lines to make him look more slithery. Alright, I think that's looking okay. And then on the bottom here, we had an ornate detail and then I decided to remove it, but I'm going to add it back. I just think it looks better with a little detail. So you can't really see the bits peeking out from under the snake, but that's okay. We want to show that it's still there. Alright, so that's looking okay. I think I like that. Yeah. I think I'll add another detail under here. I said earlier I was going to add gemstones. That would give people something to color, so I think I might do that. Actually, I'm going to create a new layer. I'm going to keep it sort of simple. Now I could copy and paste these, like duplicate them. Let's see what that looks like. So I push to the left, duplicate, click my select tool, and then I'll just come along here like this. And then I will distort it a tiny bit. Just to get the right, actually I might need to warp it. To get the right angle. The only thing I don't like about that is that this one is the same. So I'm going to delete that one or erase it. Just clicking my erase tool, erasing that one. And then I'll just move this over. Oops. Get it over like that. Just add another circle one here. Clean up that line a little bit. I'm just noticing a little line right here too. That's on the bottom layer. Alright. And then up here I'm going to add another layer. I just always add another layer when I am doing anything new. Just gives you options. I think I'm going to go like this. I don't like that. It's too, I think it's, too wide. See how I did that? If I was on the bottom layer, oh shoot, it's on the wrong layer. I think I backed up. Sometimes I back up to before I had a layer. So I made it too wide before, so I'm going to make it thinner like this. See if I like that. I think it looks better without it. There. So that's our goblet. If you like this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.